Hello, friends. I'm not going to talk about a job this time. I'm going to give you some background information. I thought you might be interested to know that the first four, or the first three chapters of jobs I've done, were completely unscripted and just talking off the cuff. And I uploaded them all to my YouTube channel because they have a better editor and you can insert captions to correct all of my misstatements. So today I thought I perhaps owe you an explanation of this. I've been doing this for, maybe 7 or 8 years now. Just not for any particular reason, just because to see if I could do it. And I find that it's useful for getting the tangles out of my hair and taking care of little things that itch. Alice is here. Hi, Alice. Hey, sweetie. Yep, she's been following me all around the house. Figured out I'm up to something. So, let me explain how I got to this point, I guess. They're kind of handy also for picking up small things. I just wanted to see if I could do it, and I'll give you some facts and figures, I guess. There is an interesting thing that I noticed, that the nails on my left hand grow quite a lot faster than the right hand. You'll see that they're a little longer, and the growth rate is actually about 1 millimeter per week, and that equates to about 5/1000 of an inch per day. And the thickness, when I first started doing it, they grew in pretty thin and they were very fragile. And here's a micrometer. I'll measure this one. It's just under 20/1000 of an inch in thickness now. They might have initially been thinner than that, but they're also kind of corrugated. They have these little ridges that run along the length, and that gives them quite a lot of strength. And I found that this shape of making them straight across on the end, that adds quite a bit of strength also. Its geometry is just harder to break. Sometimes if you crash into something, or you're not careful reaching for a light switch or lifting the toilet seat or something, you could break one. Mostly the spastic reactions and hitting things. And it seems like the corners want to break off, like at about this angle. And I use this file that you can just get at Rite Aid. It's a little coarser on one side, and you just hold it square and perpendicular and just draw the file straight across, a few strokes. And I try to get it a little more square than that. And when you do this, it makes them really sharp on the corners. It'll cut you. But keratin is the same material that your cell walls are made of. So from fidgeting or just scratching, you eventually wear the sharp corners down after about a day or two. But you have to be careful to keep them away from your eyes. I did scratch the sclera on one eye and it got beet red for about a week. But it cleared up. And when I first started, as I said, they were pretty thin, and so I put some plastic on them. I found something in the cosmetics section of the drugstore, but they have this sensation nails stuff that cures under ultraviolet light. It's very expensive, though. I found a cheaper source for it from Wahoo International in Carlsbad, California. And they make this material for repairing surfboards. And it cures almost instantly under ultraviolet light. And they sell these flashlights too. And you got to be careful when you got a puddle of it under your fingertip and hit it with this light. It gets burning hot. So you have to kind of hold the light a little further away and kind of wave it past, and so you don't build up, burning temperatures. And so, if you start to notice a split developing, my small finger tends to do that. If you notice a split developing, you can use some cyanoacrylate, CA glue. I prefer this kind with the brush in the cap. And you just put a little bit of it under your nail where you see the split, and that prevents it from getting any worse. And as it grows, you just keep filing it, and eventually the split is gone and repaired. The cuticles are natural. These are all natural. There's no plastic on them at all anymore. And the cuticles are intact, perfectly intact. I like the natural look. I don't want plastic. I'm not trying to look like a girl. And I think that the intact cuticles are aiding in helping them to grow a little thicker and stronger. So it's kind of fun, I guess. It freaks some people out, but I don't care. In the beginning, when I was experimenting with the plastic, I was trying to think of other things I could do to make them even stronger. And I experimented with diamonds. This is industrial diamond lapping compound. It's powdered diamonds. And I would mix it with the plastic, hoping, it would result in a stronger material and more resistant to breaking and tearing. It didn't make that much difference. I could cut glass. I could just run my nail across your windshield and make a nice scratch in it. But that made it impossible to file them. And I experimented with, in the machine shop, I made this jig that I could mount on a surface grinder. I used a radius gauge to measure my fingers, and the thumb has a larger radius, and the pinky has the smallest radius, and the other three are pretty close. So I had to purchase 3 separate size ball end mills to mill this thing, and it has a stop so that you can position this very close to the grinding wheel without actually touching it with your flesh. This prevents me from harming myself. And so with the diamond coating, I could feed my nail right into the side of the wheel, and it would just grind it away very quickly. But it made them extremely sharp. Particularly with the hardness of the diamonds. But they would sort of, even though I couldn't file them, they would kind of wear after a while, and the sharpness went away. But for a few days, you had to be careful not to slice your arm open. Just an interesting thought experiment and exercise, I guess. I don't really use this anymore. I don't use the diamonds anymore. It was just something I wanted to try. I also tried using woven fiberglass tape and embedding it, in there with the Solarez resin. And I used to attempt to do repairs with paper and adhesives, and now they're thick enough that they don't really break anymore. Or I'm just used to being more coordinated. I just don't break them anymore. Occasionally a little corner will break off, and maybe not very much, but just a little bit of a corner will break off. And when that happens, I just file it down until it's square and sharp again. And one thing about this shape is that it's really easy to keep them clean. If you, because they hang out so far, you don't really get dirt accumulating under them. But if something should happen to get lodged under, you can just go with the opposite hand and go, you can just do this sort of a wiping action. And they're cleaning, they're self-cleaning. You can just do this and you're done. So I was at my grandson's birthday party a couple of weeks ago. Julian Eppard and his uncle Josh was there, and he was fascinated by this stuff. I think he wants to do it. He's got more vanity than me. He had his shirt off and was showing off all his wonderful tattoos. He's a drummer for Coheed and Cambria. Anyhow, Julian loved my gift. I brought him 2 things because I didn't get to see him last year because of COVID. So last year's present was snap circuits, an electronic kit. And this year's present was my old microscope that I had when I was his age. He loves entomology. and they were both big hits. He's a little bit autistic, and I didn't think that he even knew my name, but the day after his party at his school, he was telling people about his party and some of the people that were there, and he named me Grandpa Larry. I'm told that's quite an honor, and it is. So, as far as the background information that I wanted to pass along, the first 3 chapters of jobs I've done were completely unscripted. I just shot them without much of a plan, really, and I made a few mistakes, but in YouTube you can just throw captions up to correct your own mistakes. I still plan to do chapter 4. It's probably not going to be TV engineer. I'm going to talk about my experiences as a broadcast journalist. So I need to meditate on that a little more before I'm ready to present all the facts. I'm not going to script it. Josh was the very first person, other than myself, to notice that this one has a twist. It's growing in a kind of helix. So if this ever gets to be about an inch long, it's going to make a full 360-degree twist, kind of like a soda straw. You don't know what you've got till they've grown. 10 fingernails scratching my head all day. Ooh, wah, wah, wah. Thanks, Joni. For gags, you can substitute any part of your anatomy, any single syllable. Depending on the audience. So, what else? I've got a nice new mount for my phone. It's designed to go into a cup holder in the car, like when you're navigating. So I've got it in a coffee cup with a piece of steel to hold it down. So that's why you're not having to look at the ceiling, my basement ceiling again. Yeah. What else? I guess let's see. I've talked now for 20 minutes. So let's cut it off here. And we'll meet up with you again soon. Bye.